Oh, here we go. It's Father's Day. What are we talking about? MRA. I'm rhyming, baby. Here we go. There we go. Little song. All right, Jonathan here. What is an MRA? I don't know. What's going on? All right, let's talk about MRA stuff. It's Father's Day, and for most people, Father's Day is just they talk to their kids. Their dads send nice pictures on Facebook, and I even reached out to my dad and I said, "Hey, Dad." My dad have kind of an interesting relationship. I even said, sent a little picture. I said, "Hey, to the original motherfucker." That's what dads are. Anyway, MRA stuff. For millions of people, Father's Day is a bad day because, perhaps for whatever reason, what a lot of people don't realize is that the heart of MRA is equity between the genders, specifically when it comes to like civil trials and like today, in today's world, a woman can walk into, any courtroom and she can just demand a man's 20% of his income. That's, if you think about it, that's kind of ridiculous. The law states that she actually has to prove need and receipts, but a lot of times the law isn't followed because there's such a feminist culture in the civil system. So where am I going with this? It's Father's Day. I'm playing some music. Talking about civil systems and the need for equality and the law. And I'm like, you know what? I want to help a lot of other men that are like me. And there's hundreds of thousands of men. In fact, if you just go to, go on Facebook and Google father's rights for your state. And like at Texas, where my civil case was, it was, there's about 100,000 men that lost access to their kids for no reason. Perhaps whatever reason, they just lost access, or maybe like me, you were given court-ordered access, but those court orders are never really honored, and I can't even get the court-ordered person who's supposed to handle my visitation to email me back. So a little-known secret about feminism is feminism started out as gender equality, but then it became so powerful that now men are seeking equality, and that's what the men's rights activists, MRA, stands for. So where am I going with this? I thought, I could get on there and talk about MRAism. I could play a little music. Let me do that, see what's on here, see if there's any. But I got this feeling. Yeah. I got a feeling that there is an attorney out there, and this is what I'm looking for. All right, attorneys. You know what attorneys like? Attorneys like women because they win in cases, but I'm looking for a federal lawyer. Let me go with this. All right, so I'm going to keep this brief. I want to, it's kind of hard for me to talk about MRA stuff, especially on Father's Day, because, I have two beautiful children anyway, I'll go into that story later. Healthy, beautiful children that, I can't even contact because the court-ordered system, the people who are designated to help me keep in contact with my kids because my ex-wife's a cunt, they won't even return my email. So where am I going with this? I got a little bit of a feeling that there's an attorney out there somewhere who understands what a federally protected status is. And let me talk about what the need for federally protected status is super quick. Federally protected statuses are gender, race, handicap. There's all kinds of, like, for example, what happened in Orlando, where there was that, the guy killed, 50 million people from the LGBT community. Now, not only is that, murder, not only is that atrocious, but from a federally protected status level, you can't pinpoint a group of people and carry your hate out against a group of people. Civil rights, like you can't fire somebody because they're black. You can't not rent a house to somebody because they're Hispanic or they're Muslim. You can't, there's all kinds of federally protected statuses out there. And you can't deny somebody a job because they're disabled. So when you think of federally protected statuses, when you think of gender equality, most people do not think federally protected statuses of gender applying to men. Okay, so where am I going with this? All right, do me a favor. I got to get going. Got to listen to some music. I'm out here in the Bay Area. I'm going to sue several people for men's rights activism. And so, for example, Google Lubbock, that's the city of Lubbock. Google Lubbock police chief, federal inquiry, resigned. What happened out in Lubbock is there was some racism going on where some Hispanics were really being denied promotional activity, or in terms of they couldn't advance in the police academy, or the whatever, however that situation is done. And they proved that there was racism in the hiring of in the Lubbock, Texas area. So what happened? The federal system came in, cited federally protected statuses, and the feds said, all right, bitch, you're done. And guess what happened? That police chief, because of federally protected statuses, lost his job. There's another place out here in the Bay Area where another police chief lost his job because of racist tweets or text messages or whatever. So a lot of people understand that the people of power cannot discriminate against different classes, and those two examples were race. So just Google Lubbock police chief, resignation, federal inquiry, and you'll see a real life example of the federally protected status working for race. Now, another thing I want you to Google is Google El Paso. There's a news station out there, El Paso 2503 not enforced. 2503 is the epicenter of fathers' rights movement, at least in Texas. And what 2503 says in a nutshell is it protects against people violating a father's visitation. So for example, legally, if somebody were to interfere with somebody's custody, that's actually a felony. Okay. So for example, if let's just say my sister wanted to get back at her husband, just making this example up, and she said, John, hey, it's my ex's weekend and I don't want to give him up, so could you take my kids fishing? Well, legally in Texas, that's interference with child custody, and if I did that for my sister, it's a violation in 2503, and that's illegal. That's a felony. Now, where am I going with this is that now that it's Father's Day, and I want to help fathers stay in their kids' lives, I'm looking for a lawyer who understands 2503, who understands federally protected statuses, applies to men. I like to joke that gender equality is not synonymous with a vagina. So I am looking for an attorney out there who will sue a municipality citing federally protected status of gender and the lack of 2503 enforcement. We're going to sue these people. Here we go. We're going to sue the city. It's a small town in West Texas. We're going to sue the school because the school has violated 2503. And trust me, if you're watching this video and you're seeing this intensity, you know that I have everything documented. So this is not one of those like, well, I think it would work. I'm like, no, I just need to find a lawyer who believes in men's rights and is willing to sue a municipality citing federally protected statuses. And then, so we're going to sue a school. We're going to sue my children's school for violating 2503. We're going to sue a municipality, and we're also going to sue for defamation of character. So I need a lawyer, a federal lawyer, who's going to go after all three and who understands that there's millions of dollars here for you. But more importantly, other than the settlements, is I want to set a precedent that you can't fuck with the man in America and discriminate against a man in America just because an ex-wife wants to remain vindictive. And I know fathers' rights is sort of a new thing. I know men's rights activism is sort of laughed at, but there's a quote that I live by, or that I like to when I think of men's rights, I think of the quote that says, "Nothing can stop an idea whose time has come." And there's hundreds of thousands of men who need representation in civil cases, and we can't find that representation because lawyers don't really believe in men's rights. There's a lot of women still believe in the Titanic mentality of women and children first. Well, technically, when you take that mentality into the civil system of women and children first, you're actually discriminating against a class of people called men. So I'm looking for a lawyer. And this lawyer, let me just kind of paint the picture. This woman, this man is mean as fuck. And this lawyer that I want to hire needs to simultaneously take three cases: defamation of character, because men are defamed in civil cases. That's how women gain these. Do you know in Texas that it only cost a woman $500 to put false allegations against a man? It only cost her $500. So think about it. Women are incentivized to defame men if they don't like their ex-husband, which is like, I mean, what woman doesn't like her ex-husband? So this is not a cry me a river. This is a cry. Hey, listen, if you're a lawyer and you believe in federally protected status, you believe in 2503, if you're willing to take the time to Google those two things and see that the idea of men's rights has come, please email me, americano417@gmail.com. Because you know what? What happened to me in my civil case, when I went on Facebook and I saw 100,000 men that have gone through the same thing, I'm like, fuck no, man. I've had my Schindler's List moment. You know, at the very end of that movie where he's like, fuck no. I'm not going to let this shit happen and lay down. And there's hundreds of thousands of men who need legal precedent for equality in civil cases. And if you're a lawyer and this resonates with you and you want to make a ton of money, because when you start suing a school system and you start suing a municipality, I'll tell you kind of a little quick story. Let me end on this. I walked into the local police chief of my ex-wife's West Texas town, and I asked him, I said, okay, so she can interfere with my custody. And he's like, well, we don't get involved in civil matters, boy. That's what he said. And then I turned the question around on him. I said, so what if I interfered with her custody? And he said, boy, he goes, you're talking about kidnapping now, boy. You got to be careful. And I thought, that's so interesting. When a woman violates child custody, it's called Tuesday. When a man does it, it's called kidnapping. So it's time for equality. This is my Schindler's List moment. And I want to help other men. And whenever we're successful and we successfully sue a school, the family, the municipality, we sue for defamation of character, once other lawyers, yes, I don't like lawyers, once other lawyers start realizing that you made millions of dollars on a civil rights case involving men in civil cases, then what happens is other greedy fucking lawyers go, holy shit, that's a good market. And that greed actually helps men succeed in civil cases. And more importantly, it keeps fathers in children's lives. All right, email me, americano417@gmail.com. You know, Gandhi says, be the change you wish to see. And you know what? I want to help men's rights. I want to go. Got to go. If my situation, I haven't seen my kids in going on 2 years, if I can in some way let this story help 50,000 men, 100,000 men, then I can say, God, it was worth it, because no man should lose his children just because he divorces a woman. And anyway, americano417@gmail.com. I would love to hear from the meanest, smartest, pro bonoist lawyer out there. americano417@gmail.com. Thank you.